Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:06 on O'Connor and Company, a very busy Wednesday morning ahead of us with all the results from the Maryland primary and a few results from the West Virginia primary in store as well. Also, coming up at 6:35, Cal Thomas will join us. 7:05, Corey DeAngelis is going to join us. He's got a brand new book. He's a champion of school choice, of course. And then at 8:35, we'll try this again. Comedian Rob Schneider will be joining us. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
We learned a valuable lesson, that there are some elected seats that you can't just buy with your own $80 million.
That's right.
David Trone will not be the Democrats' nominee for the United States Senate this November. And I just want to take a moment to really reflect on David Trone's career, if we could. First, he tried to buy the nomination for the open seat in Maryland. I think it's Maryland 5. Joe, whatever Jamie Raskin's seat is now.
Sure,
I think it's 5. You'll remember before that was Chris Van Hollen's seat. Chris Van Hollen decided he was going to go to the Senate. So here comes David Trone coming in to buy that nomination for an open seat. Didn't work. Then John Delaney retired from Maryland 6, another open seat for David Trone to swoop in with his money, and he did succeed in buying that seat. But that wasn't enough. He was congressman for, 2 terms, maybe. That gets boring.
Well,
when you're a multi-gajillionaire. So then Ben Cardin retires and says, hey, it's another open seat.
Yep.
Time to buy myself a promotion. And he dumps all his money. And by the way, here's what I will say about David Trone. He did do a public service to Marylanders and really the country because he has such deep pockets and he was so ready to buy that nomination with, as I said, $80 million, that it scared the likes of Jamie Raskin away. You know, Raskin probably considered that. He probably would have won it.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
But he was so scared that he wouldn't compete with Trone or he'd lose to Trone because Trone had all that money that he decided to opt out.
Yeah.
And so really it was just David Trone and, a bunch of other people said, oh, what the hell, let's give it a try. Who knows? Maybe David Trone will implode.
And he did. Boy,
sure
did he
did.
go out spectacularly.
Angela Alsobrooks, whose main claim to fame is to, make Prince George's County as a delightful place to be as it currently is. She decided to give it a shot, and Angela Alsobrooks won. She got it. And as much as I respect Larry Hogan's attempts to make this race about, as he put it, who best can go to Washington to fix the problem there, that's not what Angela Alsobrooks will be running on. First of all, she doesn't think there's any problem in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And Angela Alsobrooks' district is as close to Washington, D.C. literally as you can get.
Yep.
And as far as she's concerned, from where she's sitting, everything's great. She's going to join the party.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
And she's going to help out Chuck Schumer. And what was her main message at her victory party last night? We've got to keep the Senate blue. This has nothing to do with Larry Hogan or Angela Alsobrooks.
It's nothing to do with Maryland.
It had nothing to do with Maryland. Has nothing to do with fixing problems in Washington. And listen, I'm going to be a good Democrat. I'm going to do what I have to do. And, of course, David Trone is going to fall in line here, and he'll support, and everyone's going to be united, and everyone's going to be wonderful. But, I mean, do we have time to sort of reflect a little bit on the implosion of David Trone?
Oh, please. I've been waiting.
Bad
I've been trying
this
to
was
not interrupt.
toward the end here.
Yeah.
Let me give you his latest, actually. This one broke yesterday while he was making while he was making his final appeal to voters. And apparently the polls showed that with African-American voters in Maryland, which is a significant voting bloc for Democrats, that he was falling behind Angela Alsobrooks, who, by the way, is a black woman.
Yeah.
So he tried to appeal and explain how he can really relate to black voters in Maryland because of his life story. Here, listen.
Sticking on Alsobrooks for a second, because you're primarying her right now in these next few days. The other thing she said to me was that she's hoping to be the first black woman elected to the Senate from the state of Maryland. There are a lot of black voters in the electorate in Maryland, so how are you doing that outreach to get them on your side?
Yeah, what we hear is voters, and we need diversity, and we always support diversity, and I've supported diverse candidates all over the United States. I'm the largest donor to Democrats in the House and the Senate. So I fully support that. But at the end of the
I love that the first answer is, hey, I've thrown a lot of money at those black people. What more do they want?
Right.
I'm going all over the place spending my money to get these people elected, and they're still not grateful? All right, and then here, this is where he really gets it.
Today, what we hear from so many diverse voters is we need someone who actually speaks for us, someone who has our values. I went to public school. She went to private school. Someone that lived the life they did. Didn't even have indoor plumbing. We had an outhouse.
Oh.
And I grew up in a family that was destroyed by alcoholism. Destroyed. So we grew up in a tough circumstance.
Black voters get me. I didn't have plumbing. I was surrounded by drunks growing up. I might as well be black. Seriously.
What?
David Trone.
Where is Patrice when you need her?
Oh,
I mean, honestly,
thank you.
she would lose her mind right now.
This is from NBC, by the way, interviewing David Trone. And this is what the lack of irony, the lack of guile, frankly, from David
You
Trone.
expect one of those hooks to come in.
He's so sincere.
You expect one of those hooks to come in, like, to drag you off stage.
Yeah.
From one of his campaign staffers, like,
He's
just
like,
shut up.
What are you doing? I'm on a roll here. I love
so
Stevie
much.
Wonder. Come on.
What's also interesting is he mentions, I grew up in a household of alcohol abuse, and then he went on to make all of his money selling beverages, wine,
booze.
and beer at Total Wine. So
he goes nuts around it. He's destroyed by alcoholism.
Yeah.
Really? How'd you make your fortune? I created more homes destroyed by
It's
alcoholism.
like Don Beyer, who's always complaining about, climate
Railing
change.
against carbon
And he made his
emissions.
millions on selling used cars. Okay.
Oh.
Hey.
I'm kind of sad because I really wanted David
I want
Trone
more
to stick with
Trone.
us. I want more Trone.
It's honestly radio gold.
Yeah, I hear you, but here's the other thing. He's a really bad person.
Yeah, I don't know
He
that.
really
I don't
is.
know that.
I'm not saying. Well, I don't know anything
Also,
about
I'm not saying
Angela
Alzebrook's
Brooks
gonna be that much of
other
a-
than she's led Prince George's County, which has like unbelievable,
Crime.
horrific high rates of crime and disparity, and threw the police.
Yeah,
under
but
the
at least
bus
her
and-
bad record speaks for her.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget just about 3 weeks ago when he started yelling at a Fox 5 reporter because the Fox 5 reporter quoted
right.
his tweet verbatim, word for word.
You took one line out of 20, and you should be ashamed of that type of journalism. And shame on Fox. Fox needs to step up and do real journalism, and you didn't do it.
I did the story.
You were
Fox
shilling
did
for Larry Hogan. So keep shilling for Larry Hogan.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a
dear.
local Fox. I think he thought he was talking to Fox News.
Yeah,
Because,
and then of
again,
course he had the
it's,
racial slur.
Oh yeah, let's not forget when he was in the middle of a conference meeting as a member of Congress. They were talking about budgets.
So this Republican jigaboo that's
Oh. I
He
will
said
say
he
I
meant
did not
to say
know. I've never heard that word, but
He said he meant to say bugaboo.
right.
And then when asked, well, is that a word that's commonly... No, I've never used that word before in my life. Wow.
Oh,
The very first time ever
about
you use
that?
that word, and it's in this setting, and it's accidentally. That's weird, isn't it? Well, we're going to miss you, David Trone. Because he had to give up his seat in Maryland 6 to run for Senate. He didn't have to, but he decided to. And now what's he going to do? Now he's got nothing to do. Maybe he'll come in and guest host one day. Just have him
If
sit
he
in the
brings
corner.
wine, he's welcome.
Morning shows always have that one guy who sits there and says the most racist things. And everybody goes, hey, you can't say that. And it just becomes a shtick. Maybe he could be that guy for us.
Yeah.
On O'Connor and Company. No. Actually,
Little him,
we
little
prefer very
little-
smart
little
and
Governor
talented
Northam. It could be fun, right?
people. I can tell you this. We would rather not have him. But if he's willing to give us $40 million, we will consider it.
And
He's
wine.
used to buying chairs.
And wine.
Making sense of party politics because somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Oh, we're going to miss you, David Trone. It's like we just got to know you.
so this
Hardly knew ya.
Republican jigaboo that's
And now
Aye.
he's just gone. He's just like a flash in the pan there. But who knows? He might be able to buy some open seat coming up sooner rather than later. You never know.
He might.
Things happen. Or he could move to another state and buy an open seat there. Maybe he'll run for president.
Yeah, maybe he'll come over.
That'll
to
be an
Virginia.
open seat in 28. likes to come in there and get his open seats. There's a joke there somewhere. Yesterday in Maryland, also, Joe Biden won the Democrat nomination with 86% of the vote, 10%
Shocker.
uncommitted. 10% said, yeah, we can do better than Biden. He wasn't running against anyone, and he still couldn't get all the votes. In the Republican side, Donald Trump got 80%. 19 diehards went with Nikki Haley. God bless you, people. You know, you gotta believe in something.
You do.
Larry Hogan did win the Republican nomination with 61% of the vote. Robin Ficker, a strong second at 30%. And as I mentioned over on the Democrats side, it was Angela Brooks, 54-41. So it wasn't even that close at the end. All right, let's get to the House. Republican nomination for 6 is probably the one we spent the most time focused on.
So many
This
candidates.
is the seat that David Trone is vacating. Say again.
There were so many candidates.
There were many candidates. And the declared winner now is Neal Parrott, who won the nomination 2 years ago. He's a member of the House of Delegates from that region, and he's going to have a go again at it. He beat Dan Cox, who was the runner-up, 47-30%. Mariella Roca with 12%. Tom Royals with 4% of the vote in Maryland 6. Another closely watched race was District 3. This is currently it's being vacated, another open seat by Congressman Sarbanes, and Harry Dunn was running for it. Now, he is a Capitol Hill police officer who rose to prominence after January 6th by telling, stories
Lies.
that didn't seem to be very true.
Yeah, well, he claimed that he was injured, and then in video he was walking around, no visible injury. He raised a war chest. He was the darling of
Nancy
Democratic.
Pelosi endorsed him.
Yeah.
Payback, right?
Yeah.
He claimed that he broke down in tears because he couldn't believe what his country had become, even though there was video of him yucking it up and laughing with fellow officers.
Yeah.
And anyway, he did not get the nomination. And I got to say, again, I'm not a Democrat in Maryland, but thank you, Democrats, for not nominating Harry Dunn. Because if he did win this seat eventually, there would be no getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be there forever.
Yes.
He did not get the nomination. It went to Sarah Elfreth, who has been the state senator from the region.
You know, our friend.
This is Anne Arundel County, Annapolis, that area.
Yeah, I just wanted one quick note on Harry Dunn. Our friend Chris Palumbi, who's a guest of the show quite often, he's a former Capitol Hill officer. He tweeted, he said that his actions, he talked about Dunn capitalizing on his testimonies about January 6th, which are directly contradicted on video. And he says his actions have caused significant mental distress for current and retired officers who are aware of his lies. So interesting tweet from Chris Palumbi, and I think there's a lot of relief that he will not be heading to Congress.
Palumbi, who ran as a Republican against Steny Hoyer 2 years ago, he also is a former Capitol Hill police officer, so he does have a lot of contacts there, and that does resonate. It would have been nice for them to step up and speak out, though. That's the thing. I keep hearing this. Oh, cops hate him. Cops hate him. Say something.
Yeah, at least Chris Palumbi is, but you're right. I think though, the ones that are serving right now are probably. Can you imagine the intimidation on the January 6th subject?
Yeah,
for those
yes,
officers?
I can, because it came from Harry Dunn.
Yeah,
he was wearing the badge when he said something, and if he's lying, then other cops should step up and say something too. I recognize they have a lot of power. Anyway, back to District 6 for the Democrats. The open seat nomination went to April Delaney. Now, this is John Delaney's wife. John Delaney represented this district for 2 terms before he gave it up to run for president. Then David Trone represented it for 2 terms. He gave it up to run for Senate. So April Delaney now wants the seat so she can give it up in 2 terms and run for some higher office, because this is what Democrats do. Also, April Delaney, like John Delaney and like David Trone, I believe does not live in the district, but there's a lot of money in that family, so they're going to buy it. Neal Parrott, if you want a Republican to finally win that district, is going to need your money. That's just the bottom line. And I hope there's enough money from Republicans to be able to support his campaign. If not, it's time for the party to step up. It's time for the RNC to see this seat as the seat that can be won for Republicans, so that it's not a pathetic 5-to-1 ratio in the House of Representatives, Democrats to Republicans representing the state. Because if you look at the way the district lines are drawn, you would think that there's only 15% Republicans in Maryland. It's actually over 35, closer to 40%. We should have 2, if not 3, of the seats if this were apportioned properly. District 6 is the one we can win. Republican National Committee, step up and support Neal Parrott. Let's get this done. Yeah. It's 5:23.
Making sense of your world.
I listen to you all the time.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
It drives me crazy because you're right.
Making sense of the news. Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:36. It's O'Connor and Company. This Wednesday, the 15th day of May. Halfway through May already. It's just clicking away. Just time is going, slow down. I want to get off. 6:35, Cal Thomas will be our guest. 7:05, Corey DeAngelis has a brand new book. He is a champion of school choice and getting victories all around the country. And at 8:35, comedian Rob Schneider. I'm Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Well, I feel like I should defer to you on this one. Senator Patty Murray yesterday on Capitol Hill.
Menopause is not a bad word.
Nobody thought it was a bad word. Why do they do this?
I don't know.
Why do they do this?
Yeah, they do this with all things that women deal with.
It's not a bad word. It's not something that we can't speak about. We do speak about it.
They do this. They also do this with miscarriages. They're always like, it's a silent thing. Women have to suffer inside. Nobody talks about it. That's not true. I mean, I don't, talk about my miscarriages that I had publicly.
Hey, don't say that. That's a bad word.
Right. I mean, but obviously, if I wanted to talk about it, someone would be very, people are receptive to this stuff.
Of course.
This idea that, women suffer in silence.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to let you finish, Senator.
It's not something to be ashamed of, and it is not something Congress or the federal government should ignore. Menopause is something that every woman goes through. So there's no reason that any woman should feel like she's going through it alone.
Is she talking about women with penises now?
Yeah,
or
possibly.
Which kind of women is she talking about? Because there are women who don't go through menopause.
Right. And they feel
the
left
same
out.
Women who don't have periods.
Right. And we can't discriminate against them.
No, we're not.
Right.
So we're supposed to pretend that they're going through menopause.
So.
In fact, before she even proposes whatever stupid legislation she's thinking, what is her legislation? That everybody is mandated to keep the air conditioning really low?
It's probably one of the...
What?
Okay, I could get behind that. Okay?
Right.
Okay, sometimes I come in the studio.
I speak from
and
experience.
Larry is like, it's winter. I'm like, it's 100,000 degrees outside. What are you doing? So I could get behind this.
Okay.
I think it's a registry. It's also probably federal funding for more research. Look, I don't disagree with that kind of stuff. I think women's health is important. There's a lot of research out there for various things. Fine. Okay. But the way they ramp this up, this idea that there's no shame. Who said there was shame in menopause?
Right.
It's a perfectly normal thing that women go through, and nobody is shaming. In fact, I wish there was less talk about this stuff.
Can we stop talking about menopause?
I don't want to talk about menopause. Also, have you heard of the internet? You can look this stuff up now.
So funny you should say that. I did, because I this whole idea that menopause is something to be ashamed of and that it's not a dirty word and all that. So I did a quick look. Apparently, back in the 70s, there was an All in the Family episode about Edith Bunker going through menopause, and it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because they finally brought out into the public about this topic that was so taboo and not to say. That was 50 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, what are we doing here? If back then maybe that was an issue.
We are a post-Oprah world. Yes. Oprah and Donahue, before Oprah, talked about everything.
Oh, please. We're in a post-Jerry Springer world, so everything's on the table now.
Can we enter an era where we stop talking about everything? I mean, we don't need to talk about it. And just the idea that women are, again, all of these things, from getting your period to having miscarriages to giving birth to postpartum to, raising kids and parenting, nursing, and then menopause, that women are alone. Women don't have anyone to talk. It's a lie. It's a lie.
Someday we'll have a woman in the Senate who will speak for. Oh, no, wait a minute. We've had women. All right. Let's let Patty finish what her plan is here.
Or like she can't find reliable information or the healthcare answers and options she needs. And there is no excuse for shortchanging this issue when it comes to federal dollars. So we're going to be working hard to build support for our legislation, pass it into law, and make menopause a part of the conversation until it finally gets the spotlight and resources that it needs.
I mean, does Patty Murray know that there is an internet? Can someone on her staff?
Well, no, she thinks that
her?
other women have no idea.
Yes, of course. That's because we're all stupid. We're all stupid.
Here's the thing. You can't spell menopause without the word men. And I don't know why she's not. She's just talking about women here. This is real. Honestly, I mean, if you really want to know who suffers the most in menopause, it's the men.
Well, that's not true.
Is there going to be any? Who is speaking for us in this whole process?
I will give you a little break here. I think it must. It is tough because we're not happy all the time. It's like a constant state of hangriness.
And you know what? We got to bring it out of the shadows.
Oh,
the fact
please.
that the suffering
we need to
that
put
men
a
have to
whole
deal
lot
with.
back in the shadows, back in the closet. Okay, I do not want to hear about this stuff anymore.
Don't know why we need government intervention for menopause. You know what we need government intervention for? My friend Jesse Kelly, a radio host out of Houston, he's started this campaign, and I'm with him. We need a government bailout of Red Lobster is what we need. If you want the government to do something.
Where are we going to get our cheddar biscuits?
And all you can eat shrimp. And by the way, that will help women in menopause. You really want to help women in menopause? Don't let Red Lobster go out of business. Okay? There. It's a twofer. And again, obviously, we're having fun with it, but menopause is a serious issue, but literally every woman goes through it. Every single human being on this planet knows about it because their mother or grandmother went through it, or their wife has gone through it, or is going through it. Everything that I know about anything is shot through the prism of a Broadway musical. Did you know there's an off-Broadway show called Menopause the Musical?
No, I did not know.
It's a great show. It's still playing it's been playing in Vegas for like 30 years. It's fantastic.
Fun.
And it's about 4 women shopping for lingerie at Bloomingdale's. And then the conversation turns to some situations that they're all going through.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, as it does. We don't. Nobody. But have you ever had gone to a mom's happy hour? You think any subject is hands off? No.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Halle Berry, by the way, was up on Capitol Hill like last month.
Screeching.
Well, she was saying that we have to destigmatize this.
Oh, give me.
This is another story. I was at the doctor 3 days ago, and I went in to talk to him about an issue, and I said to him, you know why I'm having this issue, right? And he says, yes, I know. I said, tell me, why am I having this issue? He said, you tell me why you're having the issue. I said, no, you tell me why I'm having the issue. And we went back and forth. You tell me, you tell me, you tell me. I finally realized he wasn't going to say it.
Oh,
maybe it's because you've spent tens of thousands of dollars to look like you're 20 years younger than you are, so he was afraid he was going to offend you.
Also, maybe it's because leftist women have spent their time saying to men, don't tell me what I think or don't tell me what I'm going through. So maybe he was a little nervous to make the radical leftist mad. I don't know. Can't win.
Anyway.
Can't win with these menopausal women. Maybe you're in a bad mood. Maybe you're having a hot flash, lady. I'm not going to poke the bear.
Well, every single man in this country should care about this because they're going to have to deal with it.
No, that's not true. You don't have to care about this. You do not have to care about this.
I don't want men to be uncaring toward the women in their lives.
Well, no, obviously, but you don't really have to care about this. Women are grown-ups. They can go through this. We don't have to endlessly talk about this and analyze it and have government programs.
That's all we're going to talk about this morning.
Oh, great.
I can't wait to hear Cal Thomas's thoughts on menopause.
I can feel myself going into menopause right now because of this.
All right.
I'm literally going into menopause.
So somebody had the bright idea up in Manhattan to set up a portal. Actually, I love this. It's actually
it is. It's
a great idea,
yeah.
Except they chose the two worst cities. So there's this giant, it looks like a space portal. It looks like something from the future. It's really just a round television screen. And it's got a direct live satellite link from downtown Manhattan to downtown Dublin.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Kind of.
Except that it's New York and Dublin.
And there are degenerates in Times
Square. And drunks.
Yes.
In both places.
Right.
And so they're going to do what they're going to do. And within like 2 days of this thing going live, people from the Dublin side, they've been mooning New York.
Yes.
The men will go up and drop trow. So you're walking down the streets of New York in Manhattan. You see this giant portal, and there's like this big drunk Irishman showing everyone your butt.
Yeah.
And
nice.
New York, in turn, we've delivered quite the response. We've got drunk women going up and flashing their boobs.
Well, someone's winning in this.
To Ireland, I know which side I want to be on
Yeah,
in the portal.
me too. I mean, yeah. Let me say this. Let me say this, Larry. I think this is a really kind of, fun idea, very sort of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Ever since they invented Zoom, I'm not that impressed with being able to see what's going on in Dublin. It's just...
Well, I think it's because it's a communal experience.
Sure.
The thing about Zoom or FaceTime or something is just me and one person.
Right.
But there is something pretty cool to think that you're standing in the middle of Manhattan and there's a live feed to Dublin and you're just sort of able to say hi to people over there, except for the time change.
When I see these live feeds, I expect an eagle to give birth or something like that.
Oh.
I don't know what, just people walking on the street. Anyway, sorry to be a downer this
Hold
morning.
on, when an eagle
downer.
gives
I
birth,
must be going through menopause.
Is this really exactly? Turn the air conditioning up. Is it when an eagle gives birth? Is it the laying of the egg or is it the hatching of the eaglet?
Okay,
I'm just curious.
Okay,
because I think technically.
All right, look, I was just making a point.
Well, things took an ugly turn when some rowdy, drunk Irishman decided that he wanted to really tick off the people of New York and start a war. Because he went right up to the camera and he had a picture on his phone and he put the picture on his phone right up to the camera so it would be just fill the screen in Manhattan, and the picture was of the burning World Trade Center on September 11th.
I'm sorry, Larry, that kind of tracks. Have you seen how the Irish have been acting their
true.
So-called pro-Palestinian protests? And
so this could be one of the newcomers that have come to Dublin.
It's probably that woman, that crazy elf that was part of Eurovision for Ireland with horns, remember? And she was anti-Semitic and made the Israelis move hotels.
Yes,
it's probably her.
Well, the art exhibit, the visual art portal has been temporarily shut down.
Because people are jerks.
Yes, after there's a spokesperson from City Council says there's been a 0.1% interaction that includes some hateful messages, some nudity, and that ruins it for everyone. James Metham, president of the Flatiron Nomad Partnership. So we're working closely with the Portal team and the City Council in Ireland to figure out ways to make sure we can continue to show this. The vast majority are really enjoying the fact that they can peer into the city like this.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Just a few drunk eggs spoil the lot. How many on the Dublin side are named O'Connor, do you think, that have messed this up? I'm pretty sure these are my people. It's 5:53.